Yo, it's your boy Jay Best, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, season 2, episode 22. Today's episode is gonna be very short. I'm gonna get y'all in and out. All right, we're gonna talk about Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, who we thought was the future, but they really are the present. Then I'm gonna show y'all the current playoff picture as it stands, and then I'm gonna give y'all a divisional round preview, quickly breaking down each matchup and giving y'all my winners for every game this upcoming weekend. Then I'm gonna end this episode talking about Dallas and what they should do moving forward to just end this deja vu they have every year. And then I'm gonna also talk about briefly about the Philadelphia Eagles, who really let me down this year because we all know they was my Super Bowl pick. All right. But before we get to all of that, I want to thank God for waking me up this morning and allowing me to talk about sports, which is something that I love to do. Without Him, I would not be here right now. So let's go ahead and let's get straight to the point. All right. The future is now. Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, I owe y'all a huge apology. I picked both of these teams to lose this upcoming weekend. Remember, in my playoff tiers, I had them as a party crasher. Neither team belonged here, but they got into the playoffs, and I thought they would both be first round exits. I was completely wrong, and these two guys are a big reason why I was wrong. All right, CJ Stroud and Jordan Love, they both balled out this weekend. They played like a veteran in their very first playoff game. Both of them in their very first playoff game, they both played like veterans. They both went 16 for 21. Jordan Love threw for 272 yards and 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. CJ Stroud, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, a passer rating of 157 for both QBs. They both played similar. They both played great, and it was a huge reason why their team won their games. All right, going into this wild card weekend, this past weekend, they was both going against two elite defenses, right? We're talking about the Cleveland Browns led by Myles Garrett, and then the Cowboys led by Micah Parsons. So I just thought that both QBs would struggle in their very first playoff games against elite to very good defenses. But both quarterbacks went in and destroyed both defenses. Like, it wasn't even close, and it wasn't even fair, honestly, for the defense, because maybe they went into it thinking the same thing I thought. Maybe both defenses went in there and said, okay, we're going against a first-year starter in Jordan Love in his very first playoff game. We're also going against a rookie in C.J. Stroud in his very first playoff game. So let's go and destroy him. But they got punched in the mouth, and they could not respond to these two quarterbacks. For Jordan Love, for sure, I wasn't really a believer in. We did our preseason predictions. I really didn't think that Jordan Love would get it right the first year. I thought it would take him some time to kind of get his feet wet and become that next thing, that next big thing that Green Bay wants him to be. Because remember, they went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Now they're expecting that next big thing in Jordan Love. I did not think it would happen this year. He started off the season, the first two games started off hot. I didn't really overreact to it. I said, let's see him play a full year. Then he got cold. At one point, we was like, Jordan Love is not the answer. And then they got hot, and they streaked into the playoffs, won their first playoff game. Same thing with Houston. I did not think that this year they would be legit, right? I said it. As soon as they drafted C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson, I said this team is going to need about 2 to 3 years to kind of figure it out, and then they will be legit. Like I'm talking playoff contenders, almost Super Bowl contenders in 2 to 3 years. But with the rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback, the very first year, they believe that they are ready to compete now. And that's the scary part, because looking at this team, you would look at it and say they're not ready yet. They don't have stars everywhere. The only really stars they have is C.J. Stroud. You can say Derek Stingley, maybe. He's not really a star to me, but Will Anderson, they don't really have stars on this team. And C.J. Stroud don't have a number one receiver. Nico Collins is not, to me, a number one receiver yet. He might evolve into one, but right now I don't look at him and say he's that guy that C.J. Stroud can just throw the ball to and he'll make a play. I just don't see that yet. Same thing with Jordan Love. He doesn't have weapons either. Neither one of these quarterbacks have legit weapons, elite weapons. So it's scary because they're already being successful right now. So imagine whenever they go into free agency or when they go into the draft and they add those elite weapons, both of these teams are going to be unstoppable. Like, these two teams might just be in the Super Bowl in the near future because of their QB and because of what they're doing with the little bit they have. Eventually, they're going to have more and more and more. Right, so I think that I was definitely wrong about both teams. I thought they needed a year to get together, but both teams have a great coach. Matt LaFleur kind of got overshadowed by Aaron Rodgers' greatness. Right, we really didn't take Matt LaFleur play calling seriously because he had Aaron Rodgers. Whatever you call A-Rod, gonna make it work. This year with Jordan Love, he's proven that he is a great offensive play caller for the Green Bay Packers. Same thing with D'Amico Ryan, right? I thought he needed a year to kind of get it together, but you see he is dialing up great defenses. We all saw the clip where he kind of told his linebacker, I believe it was Christian Harris, I might be wrong, he told him to jump the interception, and he did it. The very next play, jumped it, got the pick, and took it to the crib. Like, things like that are showing me that these two coaches are legit, and they have two legit QBs, one a first-year starter in Jordan Love and one a rookie in CJ Stroud. Both of these teams are going to be dangerous moving forward, but I got to give love to CJ Stroud and Jordan Love, who proved everyone wrong, got the first dub, and it's going to be very hard to pick against them for round 2. All right, so next, let's go ahead and let's get to the current playoff picture, guys. The current playoff picture as it stands. The wild card weekend, and we all watched, hopefully. I'm going to give y'all the results real quick. Green Bay did beat Dallas. Detroit did beat the Rams. Tampa Bay did beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So on the NFC side, the matchups are Green Bay is going to be traveling to San Francisco to play the 49ers. And then Tampa Bay is going to be traveling to Detroit to play the Lions. All right, on the AFC side, the Houston Texans did beat the Browns. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Dolphins, and the Buffalo Bills beat the Steelers. All right, so these matchups upcoming weekend is going to be Houston traveling to Baltimore and Kansas City traveling to Buffalo. All right, those are the current. That's how the current playoff picture looks right now. And now I'm about to give y'all my divisional round preview, and I'm going to kind of tell y'all who I'm going with this weekend and why. All right, the first matchup is the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens. Like I just said a couple of minutes ago, it's very hard to keep picking against CJ Stroud and these Houston Texans. I mean, what they did to the Cleveland Browns defense, I think the Browns defense, honestly, personnel-wise, if we just go position for position, I think they are better than the Baltimore Ravens defense. I understand it's in Baltimore, so that's going to kind of add some difficulty to CJ Stroud's performance, but I do think if he can carve up that defense, I believe he can carve up this defense as well. But he's not really the only reason why I'm leaning towards the Texans in this pick. This pick also kind of it's a coaching matchup. John Harbaugh, I really don't look at him as a great schematic coach. I don't think he doesn't call either side of the ball. He's not an offensive coach or defensive coach. He kind of just oversees everything. But D'Amico Ryan, what he did to that Cleveland offense last week, like I said, just calling out plays before it happened, and you see his players doing what he said to do, and it results in the interception and returning it to the crib for a touchdown. D'Amico Ryans is doing a great job. It's crazy because he came from the 49ers, right? And at the 49ers, we all know he had Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga. He had a bunch of dogs at the 49ers, so I'm thinking, okay, come to Houston. It's going to take you a minute. You don't have dogs all around, right? But he's getting the job done with what he has, right? And if he was able to sit there and dissect that Cleveland Browns offense, then why can't he do it for this Ravens offense, right? All respect to Lamar Jackson. He's having a great year. But in the playoffs, let's be honest, Lamar Jackson is 1-3. We've all seen Lamar Jackson get to the playoffs as a #1 seed and lose his first round in the division round because he had to bye. So he played the division round and went home. I understand that's the Lamar Jackson of old. He's evolved to being a better passer. But if I had to put money on it right now, I cannot keep picking against the Texans. I just can't do it, right? I thought that they would lose week 18 against the Colts to get into the playoffs. They won. I thought they would lose the very first round against the Browns. They get out of that round as well. And now they're going against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. I've said it all year. I don't think Baltimore is a legit #1 seed. Like, when I look at the #1 seed in Baltimore and I look at the rest of the AFC, I don't see that big of a gap. It's not a big gap. I remember back in the day when the Chiefs was the #1 seed or when the Patriots was the #1 seed, we kind of looked at that #1 team and said, okay, whoever go against them, you're going to be in trouble. But with this Baltimore team, I do think they are gettable. And I do think that CJ Stroud might just do the unthinkable again. And I'd rather be wrong picking the Texans versus being wrong picking the Ravens, and the Texans keep proving me wrong week after week after week. So I think the Ravens are in trouble. I'm calling the upset. I'm going with the Houston Texans to win this game against the Baltimore Ravens, all right? Next matchup, we have the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. Once again, it is hard for me to pick against Jordan Love, but he did play a Cowboys team that I knew eventually was going to crumble. And I'm not taking nothing away from Jordan Love. He played great, amazing, against a good defense. But the Cowboys did what I thought they would do eventually, not necessarily in the first round, but because of that, because it was the Cowboys, a team that's kind of a team full of clowns, in my opinion. I do got to go with the 49ers, who I came out and said last week they are the Super Bowl favorites. They do have the best roster from top to bottom, in my opinion. They do have the best play caller in Kyle Shanahan, and they also have the best weapons offensively. We talk about Christian McCaffrey. We talk about Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. This is going to be a struggle for this Green Bay defense because the 49ers are going to run the ball, but they're not going to give up many points. I cannot see Jordan Love going and carving up the 49ers. Prove me wrong, please, because last week you proved me wrong. Prove me wrong again, but I cannot see you carving up this 49ers defense, who is legit. This 49ers defense wants to go and punch you in the mouth, unlike the Cowboys defense, who just talk. All they do is talk, right? This 49ers defense is legit to me. I think Jordan Love is going to struggle with that pass rush, and I do think it being in San Francisco versus in Dallas versus a bunch of frauds, you're going against a legit team in San Fran. And San Fran, literally, all they see is the Super Bowl right now because the Eagles are gone and the Cowboys are gone. Two teams that we thought could give them, well, not really the Cowboys, but I thought the Eagles would be the only matchup they could lose. And now that the Cowboys, a team that I guess people thought would beat them in the playoffs, is gone, all they see is the Super Bowl. And all you got to do is run through the Packers and whoever wins between the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I got to go with the 49ers to win this game because this is the team that I figured will win the Super Bowl going into the playoffs. I picked the Eagles overall, but when we did our NFL playoff tiers, I did say this is the Super Bowl favorite because of the roster and Kyle Shanahan being that play caller. I'm going to go with the 49ers. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to have a field day because the Dallas Cowboys actually had over 100 rushing yards last week, but the turnovers kind of hurt them hugely. It hurt them really bad. So I think that the 49ers take care of the ball and they can run the ball effectively. They can go ahead and walk out with the easy W against Green Bay. But Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, y'all had a great season. All right, no need to put y'all head down because y'all future is bright. And y'all future is actually next year because y'all overachieved this year. So next year, we're looking for y'all to take that next step. Go add some elite weapons. Go add some people on defense. And y'all be just fine next year. I'm going with the 49ers. All right, next matchup, we have the Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. All right, the Bucs proved me wrong last week. I picked the Eagles. Y'all did terrible wild card weekend. I think I went 2 for 4, I believe. I picked the Bills to win, and I also picked the Chiefs to win. But I think I lost every other game, actually. I did pick the Rams to beat the Detroit Lions, but the Detroit Lions squeaked out of that one. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, they beat my Eagles pretty bad last week. And the question is, was it more of an F game from the Eagles, or was it more of an A game from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I mean, the Buccaneers had over 200 yards after the catch, right? And the Eagles missed 13 tackles. So I think it was more of an Eagles just Eagles falling apart versus the Buccaneers putting up a great effort, in my opinion, if that makes sense. So I'm going against the Lions team that's red hot. They won their very first game in Detroit, their very first playoff game ever. I think I'm going to go with Detroit in this one. All right, I counted them out last week. I thought Matt Stafford can go in there and get them. They almost got, but they didn't. But I'm going to go with Detroit to go and beat a Buccaneers team who I think caught the Eagles at a very nice time. It wasn't necessarily a Bucs win. It was more of an Eagles just disaster, in my opinion. So shout out to Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield. Y'all was a team that I said were party crashers. Y'all got to the playoffs, and y'all won a game. I did not think y'all would. Y'all did. Great year. This was an A+ year. Y'all won y'all Super Bowl when y'all got to the playoffs. And then y'all put an extra little confetti on it when y'all won against the Eagles. Great season, but I think it ends in Detroit. All right. Next, we have, in this last game of the weekend, we have the Chiefs and the Bills, y'all. I think I'm going to have to go with the Bills in this one. All right. If y'all remember, I said the Chiefs are a first-round exit this year. I did not think they would play the Miami Dolphins, who I said were bullies this year. All they did was beat good teams. All they did was beat bad teams. They lost to every above 500 team they played except for one. They beat the Cowboys, another team that are bullies. So the Miami Dolphins, to me, that wasn't a fair matchup for me because I would have picked anyone that went against Kansas City first round except for Miami, right? So Because it was Miami, I had to pick the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think the road ends here. I know that there's a stat out there that says that Mahomes has never lost a divisional round game. I could care less. I think it ends here. Look, the Bills didn't impress me that much when they beat my Steelers last weekend. I think it was our 2 turnovers kind of put us in a hole that we couldn't get out of with a third-string quarterback, and we didn't have T.J. Watt. But I do think that the Bills, if Josh Allen can take care of the ball like he did last week, take care of the ball, and just make those Superman plays that he did last week as well, then I think that they can go ahead and walk out of here with a W. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I do think that the Chiefs are just overachievers right now. The way this team looked this year, I didn't think they would be in the second round unless they played a team like Miami. But now they're going against the Bills, and I think the Bills right now today are a better team than the Chiefs are. I think that Josh Allen right now, as of today, is playing better than Mahomes this year. So I'm going to go with the hot hand. I'm going to go with Josh Allen. They streaked into the playoffs. They got a couple of wins, got into the playoffs, won first round, and now they're going to be hosting the Chiefs. I got to go with Josh Allen and the Bills. This is Mahomes' first road game, I believe, in the playoffs ever, right? So I'm not counting Mahomes out. Don't get it twisted. But from what I've seen this year from Mahomes and their receivers and that offense, I'm just not confident in picking this team. There's a reason why I said the castle was crumbling a couple of weeks ago. You see the frustration from Mahomes. You saw it this year. And I think all of that comes to an end on Sunday whenever they lose to the Bills. I think what I've been saying is going to happen all year is about to happen this upcoming weekend. I got Josh Allen and the Bills taking down the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. Next, let's go ahead and move on to Deja Vu in Dallas. All right, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to come up here and dog out the Cowboys like y'all probably thought I would. I'm not going to do that. There's no point. I think y'all got enough hate this week. Y'all got enough of the embarrassment with videos that Stephen A. post and that Bubba Dub post. And I know y'all seen enough. So I'm going to go ahead and just give y'all a solution to y'all problem. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give y'all a solution to y'all's problem. All right, so instead of calling this segment Deja Vu in Dallas, we'll call it Dak Has to Go. It's simple as that. Last year, I came out with the video. Let me go ahead and show y'all the clip right now.
The only problem with this offense is Dak Prescott. Y'all get a quarterback, and y'all will be just fine. I will not come up here and bash y'all heads in every week because I will believe that y'all can make a Super Bowl run. But as long as number 4 is back there, y'all will not get a Super Bowl. I promise. Y'all won't even get an NFC Championship appearance as long as number 4 is back there. I think y'all need to get rid of Dak Prescott. That's the only answer to y'all problem. As long as y'all have 4 back there, y'all not going nowhere. Okay, 4 needs to go out the back door. Okay.
So last year after the playoffs, I came out and I said, as y'all see, Dak Prescott is basically not the answer. It's a paraphrase. Dak Prescott is not the answer. Look, y'all fired Jason Garrett, okay? Next year, same thing happens in the playoffs. Dak Prescott falls apart. Then you fire your offensive coordinator, right? I cannot think of his name right now off the top of my head. He went to the Chargers. Cannot think of his name. It's my fault. But now Mike McCarthy is being in talks of being fired. Well, it was until Jerry Jones came out and said he's coming back. But now everybody wants Mike McCarthy gone. When are we going to realize that the person that has been there with Jason Garrett and with the OC, still cannot think of his name, and with Mike McCarthy, he has just melted in the playoffs? When are we going to sit back and say Dak Prescott is the problem? It's that simple. I think we're making it hard on ourselves just trying to think of other reasons why the Cowboys are struggling. I understand the defense played bad, but who threw 2 interceptions, one being a pick 6 and one putting the other team in the red zone in the playoffs? Who threw 2 picks last year against the 49ers? Who is melting down in the playoffs? It's Dak Prescott. I don't see why there's any argument about Mike McCarthy. I'm not saying Mike McCarthy is a great coach. I think he's just a product of Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is the only reason why he got a Super Bowl. I don't think Mike McCarthy is a great coach. I'm not saying that he is, but I do think that in order to see if it's really Mike McCarthy, we got to get rid of Dak Prescott. How many coaches are we going to fire because of Dak Prescott? This is why during the year when he was putting up those MVP numbers against those terrible teams, and everybody came out saying he's the best quarterback in the league. He's this, he's that. I sat back and I just said nothing. I said, you know what? I'm not going to come out and say nothing because I look like a hater at this point. I'm going to just let it happen. Then I'm going to come out and say, I tried to tell you. All right, Dak is not the answer. Dak is not a good quarterback, especially in January. Okay, Dak Prescott in January, his record is horrible. All right, it speaks for itself. He is 2-5 in the playoffs. 2-5. And that's with Jason Garrett. That's with the OC from last year. I still can't think of his name. And they went to the Chargers. That's with Mike McCarthy. He is 2-5. When are we going to say Dak Prescott is the problem? All right, this year he had 4,500 yards passing, 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He had an MVP caliber year. He did. But I knew all of that meant nothing because in Dallas, unfortunately, nobody cares about MVPs. Nobody cares about Defensive Player of the Years. Nobody cares about Offensive Player of the Years. Nobody cares about any individual award. All they care about is that Lombardi. All right, Jerry Jones, he wants a Lombardi. It's unfortunate. The Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl and bust every year. It's kind of not fair to Dak. But Dak, you're not the answer. You're not the guy for the job. So Jerry Jones needs to look. I don't know the numbers. Contract-wise, I don't know how hard it is to trade him. I don't know none of that stuff. But what I do know is you need to move Dak Prescott. You have to. You have to get another quarterback in there because he's going to do this every single year. They're going to play good against bad teams in the regular season. They get 4 byes because they get to play the Commanders twice and the Giants twice. Then they go play a couple more bad teams. He's going to look good. Then in the playoffs, he's going to wet the bed. And it was even worse this year because I thought they was going to at least get to the second round, at least. But no, they lost in the first round to the youngest team in playoff history, the youngest team to make the playoffs ever, led by a quarterback who has never played in the playoffs before, and y'all lost. Y'all didn't lose, y'all got smacked, actually. And your 2 interceptions is the reason why y'all was down 27-0 at one point, and it was just too big of a hole to come out of. All right? Dak is the problem. I'm not attacking his character. I think Dak is a cool dude. I think Dak is a good personality in order to represent organization. So I'm not attacking his character, not attacking him as an individual off the field. I'm talking about on the field. You're just not producing. You're not doing what Dallas needs you to do. If you want to be good in the regular season and wet the bed in the playoffs every year, go anywhere else. But Dallas, if you want a Super Bowl, you have to get rid of Dak Prescott. I don't care who the coach is. You need to get rid of Dak Prescott. This is how I look at it. Let's say you have a car, right? You have a car and you're trying to take a road trip. Your car breaks down. Every time you have to take a road trip, your car breaks down. You take it to the shop and the mechanic says, well, the most important part of your car, sir, is the engine. All right, but the engine is weak. You need a new engine. And you say, you know what? I don't need an engine. I need new tires. Put tires on the car. Try to keep going that road trip. It breaks down again. Take it back to the mechanic. Sir, you need an engine. Breaks down again because you want to put windshield wipers up there. No, it's the windshield wipers. It's not the engine. It's windshield wipers. Guess what? Breaks down again. You take it back. It's the same thing with the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? Every year we get to the end of the season and we all know it's Dak Prescott who's the most important. The quarterback is the most important position on the team. We know it's Dak Prescott. But guess what? Y'all say, now let's go get an edge rusher and Michael Parsons. Let's go do that. Go to the playoffs, wet the bed. Now let's go get a new coach. Let's see a new offensive coordinator. Get back to the playoffs, wet the bed again. Y'all are ignoring the fact that it is Dak Prescott. I don't know why. I don't know why we're trying to be so nice to him because it's not about your character anymore. It's about what do you produce on the field. And he's not producing. He's the reason why y'all will never get a Super Bowl anytime soon. So you know what? Thank you for keeping him. I thank y'all for keeping him because all y'all going to do is make me right every single year. And guess what? It's going to happen over and over and over again until y'all get rid of Dak Prescott. All right. Up until in today's episode, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, man. Look, you know that song "Fly Eagles Fly." That's their little song, whatever. It's Crash Eagles Crash today because they really, really ticked me off this year. This is 2 years straight that my Super Bowl pick was not right. Last year, I picked the Raiders to go to the Super Bowl and win it. We all know why because they had Josh McDaniels come from the Patriots. I thought he would be a great play caller, right? I knew that because they was coming off a playoff year. They went to the playoffs the year before. And then they added Devontae Adams. They added Chandler Jones. I just thought this team was better. So I knew for sure they'll go back to the playoffs. And then you added a good offensive play caller in Josh McDaniels. But clearly, it was all wrong. This year, a team coming off a Super Bowl appearance, Jalen Hurts was unlocked in the Super Bowl. We saw who Jalen Hurts really is in the Super Bowl on the biggest stage against Patrick Mahomes. He outplayed him. So going into this year, I said, y'all got to go back. Y'all barely lost it. Y'all did lose what's my man named Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the man that plays at Detroit, safety for Detroit, right? They call him CD Deuce, whatever. Plays at Detroit. And y'all did lose him, but for the most part, you didn't lose much. The O-line came back. You lost your left guard, your right guard. It came to the Steelers. Isaac Ciamello, whatever his name is. You lost that. But for the most part, your team was the same. So looking at this team going into this year, I said, man, that D-line was already disgusting. Then you add Jalen Carter to the D-line, probably the best prospect in the draft who fell down to y'all. Y'all went, y'all grabbed him. Y'all got him too. And then you kept DeMonte Smith, you kept AJ Brown, you kept Dallas Goedert. Your team is stacked. Your team is loaded. The D-line is loaded. Your quarterback just paid him big money. And now you saw what he was in the Super Bowl. He should be able to come and replicate that throughout the year. None of it happened. This team was 10-1 at one point. They lost that one game to the Jets when Jalen Hurts played a bad game. And after being 10-1, they lost 5 of their last 6. So they ended up going to the playoffs at 11-6. They went into the playoffs dying. They was literally dying every single week, more and more. They lost to the 49ers, lost to the Cowboys. Then they started losing to teams like the Cardinals and teams like the Giants. And I kept ignoring it, and I kept saying, you know what, this team, because of how good their roster is, they can flip that switch on in a heartbeat, right? I said Deontay Wilder, right? Deontay Wilder goes into every match with a chance because of his heavy right hand. If he connects, you're going down to the mat. All right, Deontay Wilder he has that puncher's chance every single game. That's how I felt about Philly. Going to the playoffs, you have that puncher's chance because of how strong this roster is. But they went into the first round, and best believe they did not show up. Lost to the Buccaneers. Like I said earlier, 200-plus yards after catch. This is not Baker Mayfield throwing the ball down the field. He's throwing slants, and they're taking it 80 yards. He's throwing slants and taking it 50. And y'all missed 13 tackles. Like, to me, you just wasn't ready for that game. You didn't want to play that game. It just looked bad. That was not the Eagles team that I saw last year. And I feel like they did not lose enough in order to be able to say, okay, y'all lost a couple players. Y'all a different team. They wasn't a different team to me. To me, it was the same team. But things did not go that way this year. The way I thought it would go this year, I was wrong. I will admit it. I will admit when I'm wrong, for sure. I would never come up here and say I'm going to just change my pick. No, I picked the Eagles to win Super Bowl this year. It did not happen. I was wrong. That's my bad. I'm over 2 on Super Bowl picks. So hopefully next year I can get it right. All right. But the Eagles, man, I don't know what happened. Losing Shane Steichen and their defensive coordinator that went to the Arizona Cardinals, Jonathan Gallen, something along them lines. Losing them two was a huge loss for this team. And I thought they would be able to recover just because of the roster they have. But this shows the importance of an OC and a DC, all right? You change OC and DC and the whole team changes. That means that offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator is very important in today's game, or in the game in general, in the NFL in general. But Max Kellerman, for the first take, came out and said that this is a while ago, though. This is a while ago, Max was still doing first take with Stephen A. He came out and said that the NFL is a coach's league. The best coaches normally win in the NFL. It is a coach's league. And I think we all saw this year why it's a coach's league, because Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gallen leaves. I think that's his name. I could be saying his name so wrong right now. But the head coach for Arizona Cardinals, who was the DC for the Eagles last year, them two left, and this whole team changed. All right? I do not think Nick Sirianni should be fired. I think that whole conversation need to be thrown out the window. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. He came to this team. This team won 4 games. Then they hired Nick Sirianni. He went 9-8. Then he ended up going, I believe, 10-7. No, 11 and he ended up. I'm sorry, last year. Last year he ended up being 14-3. He went 9-8, then 14-3, then 11-6. All right. This year, 11-6 this year, 10-1 at one point. I do not think that Nick Sirianni should go. I understand this team underachieved, underperformed, but I do not think you should get rid of a coach who has nothing but winning seasons with the organization. All right, I think he deserves another year to get this together. Go get a real OC and a real defensive coordinator, and you'll be right back in the saddle, in my opinion. All right, but that is it for today's episode, y'all. I just wanted to get y'all out pretty quick. 30 minutes is probably my best time as of late, right? I think normally I do about 40 minutes, maybe something along them lines. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in today. Hopefully today was a good episode for y'all. Y'all make sure that y'all continue to like and share and get people to subscribe, because I'm trying to grow, man. I'm trying to make this thing bigger and bigger the more I do it. And look, enjoy this weekend. All right, enjoy the divisional round. The NFL is almost over with. I told y'all about the wild card weekend. It went by like that. It went by so fast. And now we're in the divisional round. And then next thing you know, we're going to be in the championship round and then the Super Bowl. So make sure y'all enjoy it this upcoming weekend. Like I said, I got Texans, I got 49ers, I got Lions, and I got Bills. All right, those are my 4 picks. Hopefully I do better than I did last weekend. All right, but that's it for today, y'all. Much love. It's your boy Jay Best.